Hey everyone, welcome back to Navigating Gluten-Free, where we are navigating this gluten-free life together, okay? And what we're doing today is, no, this is not gluten-free, this is very gluten, and let me tell you, when I was out buying these flowers, I felt kind of gross, but, oh my god, I forgot how cheap all of these gluten flowers are. I think that the bag was like $2. Anyways, we're gonna test this out today. So I'm going to take a cup of this flour and we're going to add water to it gradually. We're going to get the volume measurements. We're going to get the weight measurements. We're going to do it in grams. We're going to do it in ounces. And we are going to figure this thing out so that we know how much water you need to add to all-purpose unbleached flour here to make it crumble, a dough, to make it a thick batter, to make it a thin batter. We want to know how much water we need to add, because what we're going to do with this information is we're going to take it and we're going to apply it to our gluten-free baking. Because if we know this information for the gluten stuff and we know this information for the gluten-free flours, then we can take recipes that are using the gluten flour and we can apply it to make it gluten-free, and we can make sure that we are not adding all of these different things that are not going to work out, right? Okay, what is this going to tell us? It's going to tell us how much liquid needs to be added. And that's about it, right? So there's a lot more experiments that we're going to need to do here, but let's start with this one. This is not going to tell us how much starch is in the flour. It's not going to tell us how the texture is going to turn out in the end. This is just so that when we are working with these different gluten-free flours, we can look at the recipe and say, this flour is what the recipe calls for. And this is how it reacts with liquid. And then we can take it and apply it to our gluten-free baking, and we can have some data, and we can have some information, and maybe we don't have to reuse our gluten-free flour 5 times to try to get a recipe to work, right? All right, so let's get started. I'm going to get some protective equipment on because I can't touch the flour in the air. No, thank you. So I don't want to get sick. I'm going to put a bunch of protective stuff on, so a mask, some goggles, gloves, all that stuff, okay? And then I'll be right back, and we will test this flour out, and we'll record everything as we go, okay? All right, hang on just a second. Hey everyone, welcome back. So what we have here is the all-purpose unbleached flour, and we're going to add the flour into here, do some water, add some things in, see what happens. And we're going to keep weighing things as we go too. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off. Oof. There is just flour going everywhere. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a 1 cup scoop, here we go, of our flour here. And now I have pre-weighed, ooh, not that stuff. I have pre-weighed the containers here, so I know that I can turn it on and just weigh this whole thing, and I don't have to tear anything out. I will go ahead and take the weight of the containers off later. Okay, so let's see here. We have 6.75 ounces. Oops. So we have 6.75 ounces, and we're going to hit that unit here, and going to go over to 192 grams. And that was for 1 cup here. And that way we can all kind of get our measurements on the same page. Okay, so our first step here is really just to see how much water do we need to add to just make it crumble, right? So 2, 3, 4, 5, so let's go ahead and start there, and let's see what we get. So this unbleached flour, so you've got that whole grain in there, and they just take that, they take the grain, they crush it all up. All right. So this is going to be one that has a little bit less of the gluten. And so that'll be really interesting to see the differences between all of that. Oh, we're really close there. Okay. So let's just go ahead and add one more in and stir that up and see what that gets us. And so some of this is clumping up. Yeah, I'm going to call that good. So you've got it clumping, and then you touch it and it just kind of all falls apart. And that's what we're looking for right here. All right, so let's go ahead and record that. So to crumble, we needed 6 teaspoons, which is now 208 grams. And if we get that into ounces, we're at 7.3. All right, so for our next step here, what we want to do is we want to create a dough. Now, I'm not going to create a dough and like knead it and everything, because, so 3, 4, 5, okay. Because when we create the batter stage, we don't want to develop that gluten so much that it's going to make it so that we can't make the batter, like how the high gluten flour, all right, so we did 5. Let's do a little bit more. 6, 7. So we've got 10 in here now. Ooh, we're starting to get that dough coming together. Let's see, I think that we're probably going to need a couple more teaspoons in here. But that's why I've got teaspoons, so that I can do this really slowly and see what we get. Right? Let's go ahead and do a third. Okay. So we'll do a third. So there's a little bit of flour stuff left at the bottom, but it's that dough stage now. So we're going to call it that so we don't develop the gluten too much. And let's go ahead and get the weight and everything on that so we can see the differences here. Okay, so we are at 9.2 ounce. And 260 grams. All right, now this is the point where we're going to add a lot more water. So we're going to take a 1/4 cup, and we'll go ahead and see what that 1/4 cup gives us, okay? Actually, let's go ahead and do the full half. I could just see it absorbing that liquid in there. And we're really trying to get a batter here. So we want to move this flour around as little as possible to start off with. All right, we're going to need another 1/4 cup in here. So this will be, we're up to 3/4 of a cup. And it does look like that's where we're going with this. It does look like 3/4 of the cup is going to get us where we're at. So remember, this one, we're just looking for a really thick batter, like something that you might find in a cake batter. And again, I'm not trying to over mix it here. Just trying to get most of the big chunks done, because we don't really need to, we're not going to be doing anything with this. So we're just looking for that super thick batter. Okay, so we've got that in here now. All right, so let's go ahead and weigh. We're going to get the grams first of all. So we have 3/4 of a cup, and that is 396 grams. And 13.95 ounces. Okay, now we are going to add a little bit more water. Oops, I'm getting towards the end of my water here. We're going to add another 1/4 cup of water. And what we're trying to do is just get that thin batter now. And I don't think we'll have to add more than that. So this is supposed to be around a pancake batter. We're not really trying to get it as far as a crepe. After all of these chunks got broken up, it would be much thicker than this. So this is looking like a great pancake batter. So we just went ahead and added 1/4 of a cup to make it this thin batter. And then we're at 15.95 ounces. And 452 grams. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get all the gluten cleaned up here, and then I'll come back and we'll have a little chat about what we found, okay? All right, see you soon.